GR IAS Academy.
100 days, 100 themes, one goal, UPSC Prelims. Hello everyone, welcome back to Mission Surya. In this program, we are going to deal with current affairs completely from Prelims perspective. So let's get started. Today we are going to continue on our theme, species behavior, and we'll discuss about today's topic is mating and parenting behavior. So mating and parenting behavior relates to reproduction. So let's continue us on this topic. So the first topic is about courtship displays. So usually we always notice peacock dances very nicely. So do you think peacock dances nicely for you? No, it wants to attract its mate. So that's why it shows this dance to attract a mate, and this is called courtship display. So what is this? It is the behavior wherein an animal performs some display to attract its mates. So how they do that? So they detect mates using some cues, whether they can be visual or sound or chemical. So when they get that cues, they start courtship displays. So what they do? They perform courtship displays such as dances, feather spreading or mating calls. So these are called courtship displays. And what is the process? So they uses displays like this, either dance or feathers or mating calls, right? So initially they detect, then they perform dance or some other displays, and by displaying courtship displays, they show the potential mates, their strength, their health and the quality of their genetic material. So by seeing the display of the male mates, the female assesses the capability of male species. That's how they choose the male partner, and then after choosing they continue for copulation. So in order to attract female for the mating process, animals display courtship displays such as dance, mating calls and feather spreading. So what is the purpose? For sexual selection, to avoid hybrid mating and for recognizing their own species. So example we just have seen peacock dance, and birds of paradise, they also perform dance routine. So this is example of sexual selection in animal species. And then laking. So what is laking? So consider a courtyard in which many male species are present and they occupy a little territory for themselves, and they will display their capabilities or their dances or any other courtship displays in their own territory. Females visit this place and selects any animal from this place. So this place is called lake, and this process is called laking. So all the male species gather at one place called lake to display, while females visit this place to choose mates. So this place is called lake, and in their small territory they give some displays or any calls or movements related to their own species, and then females visit the lake and compare and they choose for mating. Mostly few dominant males receive most of the matings. So this is called laking. And what are the key features of laking? This arena where this process happens, it does not provide any nesting or food resources. So, these males do not participate in parental care. They only choose for mating purposes and not participate in the further reproduction processes. So, example for these topic is greater sage grouse and topi antelope. So, what do we have to remember in this for exam? Female mate choice occurs in lake system, okay? And what is about mating calls? If you see here, frog, it uses some sounds to attract females. So, what is sounds? Those are nothing but acoustic signals. Why they produce? To attract female mates. When they produce? During breeding season or mating season. And why it starts? Due to the triggers like rainfall and temperature. If you see, whenever rain occurs, you will hear frogs, right? So, that is the trigger for frogs, okay? And every species will not have same type of call. So, the mating calls will be different for different species, right? And some organs are helping them to amplify their mating calls. And then because of this, females will locate the male and they will approach for the mating process by listening to the mating calls of the prospective male. So, what is its mechanism? Frogs sound is amplified by vocal sacs. So, this is our vocal sac of the frog. So, their sounds are amplified by the specific organ of frog, which is called as vocal sac. Like that, every species might have different specific organ for amplifying their mating calls. And then for cicadas, it is timbal organs. So, what is the function? Biologically, it is used for attracting the mate and recognizing their own species. And I just told you those are different for different species and they prevent crossbreeding. So, mating calls allows us to recognize our own species. Synchronized spawning. So, here if you see, many animals have gathered and they are breeding. So, what they are doing? They release eggs and sperm of many individuals at one point into the water. So, what is the process? See, whenever you have lunar cycle and certain temperature and there will be low tides and high tides, right? Those are all environmental cues which gives a signal for these species for timing of the reproduction process. So, using these environmental cues, they gather together at some place and then they release eggs together in the water, eggs and sperms together. So, what they do? They release eggs, gametes means ova and sperms, they release simultaneously in the water. And what happens? After releasing the eggs and sperm in the water, externally the fertilization is occurring. So, these fertilized eggs in the water, they develop into larva. And from larva, the next process begins like becoming an adult. So, what is the advantage? See, as they are combining it, as they are forming a group and then using cooperative spawning, what happens? The chances for increase in the fertilization increases. So this spawning, this fertilization at synchronization at the same time helps the chances of increase in the fertilization capabilities of the species. Okay, so that is one advantage, that is it is increases the probability of fertilization and it will reduce the predation. So you know, right, many species feed on the eggs as well. So if so many eggs are there, at some point if a predator notice this many eggs, it might eat some of eggs and leave the rest. So that's when, if only few eggs are there, like different predators notice it and eat it off, right? So there will be no saturation, it might eat completely. So here it will be full and it might leave the rest. So when there are more, it might help for the survival of the rest of the eggs and rest of the species. So which species use this technique? Coral reefs, horseshoe crabs, they both use synchronized spanning technique for their breeding mechanism. And then what do you have to remember for the exam here? In marine ecosystem this occurs mostly. Okay. Next is brood parasitism. If you notice here, these two eggs are different from rest of the eggs. So what's happening here? Let's say one bird has, this is first bird's next eggs and this is second bird's eggs. What's happening? First bird has built a nest and has laid eggs in its nest. The second bird, it will notice this and it also lays its eggs in its nest and forces the first bird even to take care of second bird's eggs. This is called brood parasitism. So this first animal, it is forced to take care of these eggs also. Okay. So it is where one species lay its eggs in the nest of another species, forcing the host to raise its offspring. So this is called brood parasitism. So what is the process? So first the second bird observes the first bird, that nest, and then when the first bird leaves the nest, it comes and lays the egg in that nest. And what happens? Mostly the eggs laid by second bird, they will be similar in color and pattern. Okay. And what happens? The first bird, it will incubate eggs. It can't separate these eggs. So it will host the eggs. It will incubate the eggs of the second bird. And then what happens? Parasites egg, these eggs, they might hatch earlier and it might remove host eggs. Okay. And then the first parent, it might raise the second parent's kids. So this is what happened. And in which species it happens? It happens in cuckoo and cow bird. This is called brood parasitism. And what happens? It uses mostly egg copying, egg imitation, egg copying, and whatever the second bird is laying eggs, it is having shorter incubation period, means they will be born earlier when compared to the first host. Okay, first bird, that is host. Okay. Next topic is parental investment. So what is parental investment? Parents usually spend their time and energy to take care of their offsprings. So that is called parental investment. Okay. Why they invest time? Because the offspring is definitely weak since it is newborn. So they will take care. Okay. Just like our parents do for us, right? And what is the process? So if you see here, emperor penguin is taking care of the eggs near its feet under the brood pouch. This is an example of our parental investment. So what is the process? They protect eggs or embryos from the predators. So that's the first process. They have to protect the eggs from the predators, and then they will be incubated to become organisms by using either nest or body pouches or surfaces. So what they provide in terms of investment? They provide food, they provide heat, they provide protection from predators as well. So they take care until offspring can take care of itself and become completely independent. Just now we have seen emperor penguin, it is taking care of eggs under its brood pouch. And another example is seahorse. So in seahorse, female deposit eggs in the sac of the male where fertilization takes place and organisms are born. So that is another example of our parental investment. And if you notice, usually female take care of the birthing process, right? But in seahorses, male pregnancy occurs because female releases its eggs in male pouch. So that is the rare phenomenon among vertebrates. This is the point you have to remember for the exam. And then parthenogenesis. This is the most interesting topics. Usually for reproduction, what happens? Two organisms mate. But even without mating process, reproduction can occur, and that is called parthenogenesis. So what happens? An embryo from an unfertilized egg is being developed without any male help in the fertilization process. So that is called parthenogenesis. So what is the process? So female produces eggs which are unfertilized, and then what happens? Egg undergoes cell division. So usually what happens? Once male sperms and female ova, they combine and they start, and that combination is called fertilization. So when fertilization occurs, cell division occurs, and that cell division grows rapidly. So many cells form and becomes an organism. So that's how the regular reproduction happens. But in parthenogenesis, this process is skipped. Directly eggs divides, cell division happens and becomes an adult. So the fertilization process here is skipped and it becomes similar to the mother, right? That is called parthenogenesis. And what is the importance of this? So if males are absent, then also the reproduction can happen and continue the existence of species. So this enables reproduction even in the absence of males. So when there is favorable condition for the species to grow, then their population grows rapidly. What is the example for this process? Komodo dragon, whiptail lizards and aphids, and this is the aphid life cycle. See here, if you notice, this is absent in our parthenogenesis. Directly X will continue for reproduction cycle without involvement of male. Okay, this is reproduction cycle, regular reproduction cycle. So without this, this happens in parthenogenesis. And if you notice here, facultative parthenogenesis means there will be option for both sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So there will be a choice for individual. When there is presence of male, it can go for sexual reproduction. When there is absent, then it go for asexual reproduction. So Komodo dragon can do both. This is called facultative parthenogenesis. So what do you have to remember for our prelims exam here? You have to remember, in honeybees also, unfertilized eggs develop into male drones, which is called as haplodiploidy. Okay? That's all for today. We'll continue in our next class. For detailed notes, please visit our website using the link given in the description box below. For more videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram channels and Telegram channels using the links given in the description below. Thank you.